evening and welcome to episode 376 of the Gersnet Podcast. I'm your host, John McCallum, tonight. Tonight we'll look back at yesterday's defeat at St Mirren, ask if rotating is really working, how do we eradicate individual errors, and is the league now over? And if we've still got time at the end of that, we'll find out from Ross what we might do in the January transfer window, if anything at all. Now, before we do any of that, let me just remind you that Gersnet is, of course, the independent Rangers podcast made by fans for fans, where the content is free. Now, it's not just a podcast we have here at Gersnet. We also have a forum, articles, social media, and a great history archive. So if you enjoy what you hear tonight, visit us online or even subscribe and never miss an episode. Now, before we do any of that, I just have to mention our sponsors who very kindly help us put all this together, and that is Forrest Precision Engineering, who are a big subcontract Glasgow-based engineering company, and they've been a big supporter of Rangers over the years, and we're delighted they're backing our pod. You can find out more about them at forrestprecisioneng.com. Or you can also visit the Forrest Precision Executive Lounge, which is a hospitality area in the main stand. And if you want more information on how to book that, you contact the club directly at hospitality@rangers.co.uk. Now, it's that time of year where you quite literally don't know the time. In my case, you don't know the day. I have no idea what time of the day it is. I have no idea what day of the week it is. I've completely lost everything. I drank too much. I've eaten too much. And I know that for you, I could just be describing any time of the year, but for me, this is just simply Christmas. Anyway, Ross, how are you? Merry Christmas to you. Let's not talk about football just now. Has Santa been good to you?
Santa was very good to me on the 25th. Not so much on the 26th. But yeah, no, full of festive cheer. I had a lovely day on Christmas Day itself. As you say, too much food, too much drink.
What kind of family are you, Ross? Are you a go for a walk in the countryside family? Are you a sit in front of the TV kind of family? Are you a just get bloated by 1 o'clock in the afternoon type family? Well, how's Christmas for you?
Well, I was strategic this year. This year I did the cooking for the first year ever. I cooked for 12 of us. It went okay. It's a maths challenge. It's a logistical challenge. It's timings. Yeah. It's working it all out. It's scheduling, but it's it was all fine, so we did that, and I think I started cooking at about midday, and we ate at about 4 o'clock, and then that was my opportunity to say, well, I've done all my work, and everyone else can now do the work around me and tidy up and all the rest of it. So I enjoyed a very good rest that evening. It was good. How was yours?
Yeah, it was good actually. Yeah, we had 13, 3 of whom were St Mirren fans.
Right.
Was fine on Christmas Day because everybody thought we were going to win, but thankfully I don't have to speak to them again now till the new year. But yeah, no, it went well. It was actually a very pleasant time, and really pretty much only yesterday that's ruined Christmas for me. Let's just dive straight into yesterday and game it. Actually, I don't even know what we're calling it just now. I still want to call it Love Street, and I haven't got used to whatever it's called. Just now they've got a new name for it, but Paisley, let's just call it Paisley. We came out with a starting lineup, but had no Raskin, no Danilo, no Proper. The team, we've kind of get used to Clement changing the team every week, and we'll talk about rotation a little bit more, in a bit more depth as we go on. But did the team surprise you? I mean, Raskin's omission was certainly for me was the one that surprised me.
Yeah, it did, because I'm a strong believer of you pick your best team, and it's a debate that football fans have had, you and I will have had at times on this show. As you go, we've got this coming up in a week, or this game in 4 days, and we need to plan for this, plan for that. I'm a very strong believer in you play your best team, the best players available to you. And I think that the lineup came out yesterday, and I think Clement had his eyes on, obviously, Motherwell coming up in a couple of days' time, followed by the extremely important Old Firm on the 2nd of January. I think that factored into his decision making in terms of the squad at the starting 11, at least yesterday, and I think that proved costly. You sort of referenced rotation in your intro there, and squad rotation and the like. Squad rotation's all well and good. But the last time that you and I were on this show together was about 10 days or so ago after the cup final, and one of the points that I think we both made was Celtic brought on a boy that they spent £11 million on, and look at what we've got on the bench. Rangers' squad doesn't have any depth. Yeah. I think we are really, really struggling for quality out with the starting 11. And so when you rotate, in our case, I think you do necessarily weaken the team. And when you're going somewhere like St Mirren, it's cold, it's a horrible place to go. The weather's not that good. Don't weaken the team
Ross,
because you're
it's not even
already.
cold. It is mild just now. It's like the warmest it's been for about the last 6 weeks, the last couple of
But
days.
you don't weaken yourself. You know that St Mirren are going to be putting in a fight. You know what a Stephen Robinson team will give you. It'll be physical. It'll be tough. It'll be unpleasant.
Yeah, they'll fight for
Don't
every
weaken
ball.
yourself.
Yeah.
They'll fight for everything. And I feel that the starting 11. I was very surprised that Danilo didn't start. I was very surprised that Proper didn't start. But I was extremely surprised that if you're going somewhere for a battle, one of the players I want there is Nico Raskin.
Yeah.
And
he's been in great form.
He's been in great form. He's been in great form. And yeah, so I was surprised and I was disappointed. I'm one of Philippe Clement's biggest defenders, I think, at times. I was disappointed with that team selection.
And it was Barron, let's be honest, it was Barron he brought in. And Barron looked like a great signing. The first 2-3 months of the season, Barron looked like, at times, Barron looked like the only good signing that we made in the summer. Now, you have to allow for a bit of time for folk to settle, and I think we all agree now that that's not the case, that, we've probably had, Jeffty's a good signing. Igaman looks like he's a good signing. But, Barron looked like a good signing, and I don't know what's happened. He's kind of fallen away, and he's most certainly not first choice in our midfield just now. But when I saw his name on the team sheet instead of Raskin, I thought, okay, right, he's obviously, he's trying to save Raskin. He's got two more games coming up in close succession. He's obviously trying to save Raskin for them. You certainly want Raskin playing against Celtic. He's obviously thought 3 games in that space of time is maybe going to be asking a bit much of him. And he's not that long back from a serious injury. I don't know. They'll see the stats on him. They'll see how he's doing in training. They'll understand more of that kind of thing. But I guess we just have to bear that in mind. And I think the other thing actually is that Raskin is sitting on 1 yellow away from suspension. A voice just came to me there that told me that Raskin's one yellow away from a suspension, and so I guess that's also going to be in Clement's mind. So, Barron coming in for me wasn't, well, 2-3 months ago you would have actually probably chosen Barron over Raskin. Now you wouldn't just now, but at the same time, I was surprised at the dip that we took. Just how much our level dropped by just changing those 2 players around. That the urgency wasn't there, the speed wasn't there, the drive wasn't there. It had become very pedestrian again. It just, the first half anyway, and we'll talk about the second half, but first half, it felt like Rangers of 7 weeks ago. Yeah. Without putting too fine a point on it, is that because Barron came back into our midfield?
I'm not sure. I think that it felt to me the first half that there was a complete dearth of energy and pace and intensity and all of the good things. You think about the best performances we've had this season, whether that's Nice or Steaua Bucharest or Tottenham, or dare I say it, the cup final, when we had intensity, pace, a little bit manic, a little bit wild, a little bit unpredictable. We didn't have any of that in the first half. And I don't think that's just down to Barron. I think it's to a large part, it's down to the opposition as well, of just sitting deep. But again, you know what you're going to get when you go somewhere like St Mirren. I wonder with Barron, I made this point to my friend David, who's a Kilmarnock fan. You know David Wren. I made the point to David that he'll hate that, by the way. He'll hate that.
Don't worry, he doesn't listen.
I made the point to David that I wonder, and I'm talking Conor Barron at the start of this season playing for Rangers, and I'm talking Conor Barron playing for Aberdeen. Does Conor Barron look good in a bad team? Because he started the season as our best player, and I thought as a team we were appalling first 10 weeks of the season. Same at Aberdeen. Now that the team has changed around him, I think it's shown him up to be a useful squad option, but not the superstar of this team. So maybe there's something in that. I think that the other thing that frustrates me with Conor Barron is he does not ever look like he's going to score a goal, and
Oh, it does not.
he
No, he
doesn't
had a
look like he
shot in the
knows how
first
to
half
shoot.
that was just. I think, why we even bother shooting?
Yeah, exactly. And that's actually, again, one of the biggest criticisms I have of us as a team is that we don't score enough goals from midfield.
Yeah.
Conor Barron's not the. I mean, Nico Raskin's goal scoring stats for us are shocking as well. He's got a couple of goals, but I don't have any confidence that Conor Barron's chipping in with a goal or two.
No, it's very poor. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate him maybe being a little hard on Barron, but at the same time, it was the most noticeable change in our formation, and our style of play really did suffer from that. Before we talk about the second half and the change, Simon's first goal, I'm going to have a moan. I'm going to have a rant about this because I haven't even seen it mentioned. The change to the offside rule a few years ago, it still irks the life out of me as somebody who played as a defender for most of their decidedly average amateur football career. You step out and you leave a player in there. That's what the Rangers defence did. The guy who scored came from deep and ran through. But there was a player offside. That for me is offside. I don't care what anyone says. If your defenders are moved out to leave a guy in there and some other guy comes through, that's offside. How are you supposed to defend that? Would you just sit deep all the time? It just really annoys me. Anyway, it is what it is. It's in the rules. The boy broke through. What do you say? I don't know what Butland was. I mean, I understand what he was doing. I understand he came out, he saw it, he thought. But at some point, surely he must have realised, actually, I'm not getting to this ball. So, I jockey the guy, I harry him, or I scarper back to my own goal or whatever. But, here's a thought. Let's not knock him down in the penalty area. Let's try and avoid doing that. Is it just... I mean, I've got 3 kids. Is it just that at that point his brain has stopped working? Because that does happen when you have children. Your brain just stops working. And sometimes it can take 10, 11 years before it starts working again. So it could be that it's just that. Was he lucky to stay on? If we're being honest with each other, had it been the other way, would he have been howling for him to be sent off?
I don't think he's lucky to stay on. I think it was a foul. I think it was a yellow card. I don't think it was a red in that. And actually, here I'm going to show up my own ignorance of the laws of football. But it's okay. I'm not Frank Connor in the VAR room, so that's fine. As I understand it, again, the rules around red cards and penalties changed a few years back now, which is that if a defender, for example, makes the last man, the defender's the last man. He's trying to tackle the striker in the box. He makes a play for the ball, but he misses. He takes the man. Even if he's last man, that used to be a red card. Now it's a penalty and a yellow. Seemed to me, I don't know if the rules are different depending on it being a goalkeeper rather than a defender. I don't see why it should be. It seemed to me Jack Butland made a genuine attempt to play the ball. He was the last man. The guy was through on goal. It was a penalty. It was a stupid decision. It was a rush of blood to the head. I mean, it was right in the corner of the 18-yard box.
Yeah.
It wasn't as dangerous a situation as it perhaps appeared. And as you say, he can come out and put pressure on the guy, or he can go back to his line and force the guy to make a decision. He did something really, really stupid. He made a stupid decision and rush of blood to the head, as I say. What I will say, I think it's a shame that early on in the game yesterday, we lost our only defender with any shred of pace. Who's the defender that you have faith in to chase a man back and make a last-ditch tackle, a goal-saving tackle? It's Leon Balogun. He went off with a dodgy calf. So that I don't think that helped, because I thought our defenders looked flat-footed and looked slow. Actually, I thought they looked slow running back to track that man. So, but no, for Butland,
I think when someone's got a run on you like that, I actually thought the defenders had actually caught up by the time Butland took him out. When someone's got a run on you like that and you're looking for the guy, you're looking at the guy who's offside and you're working to him, and some guy comes from that. Yeah, midfielder's got to go with him. For me, the midfielder's got to go with that guy.
It's just it's a stupid thing to do. It was a bad goal to lose. As you say, do you sit deep all the time? Well, that's what everyone else seems to do against us. But That's not how I want to see Rangers play. I want to see us be aggressive and be dynamic and attack. But really, really poor from the goalkeeper.
Yeah. And I think you're right, actually, about Butland. There was howls for him to be sent off, and it is one of these ones. If it goes for you or going against you, you probably have a different view. But I think you are right. I mean, it was clumsy at best, but it was a genuine attempt to get the ball. And I think a booking was the right decision in this case. And I'm going to give the ref a hard time as we go on, but I think he did get that one right. Second half, I mean, there's not much more to say about the first half. I think we had one shot on goal, loads of possession, but we did nothing with it. The second half, substitutions, and obviously Balogun has been replaced by this point. But as we said, Danilo comes on for Bajrami, wasn't it? We came on for? No, who did he come on for?
Yeah.
I was for Bajrami, and then Rastin comes on for Barron. Could we have made more changes at half time? I mean, it was one of these ones. I was watching it with my son. I was actually watching both my sons, but my eldest son and I were having a chat about it, and I had said, look, I think he's going to have to bring Raskin on. There's no urgency in this team's going to have to bring him on. Who's he bringing him on for? I said, he brings him on from Barn. Barn's not doing it. But I mean, Hadji could have been taken off. Even Cherny could have come off at that point. Cherny had a decent second half. But even at that point, I think Cherny came in. Igaman wasn't getting the ball full stop. So, I mean, there could have been more substitutions. Was it the right? I mean, were the changes right? Basically, is all I'm asking.
I think the changes were right. And I think, unfortunately, it goes back to a lack of depth. Because, as you say, you take off Cherny, you're bringing on Ross McCausland.
Yeah.
You take off Hadji. I mean, I don't know who you're bringing on, actually, to replace that.
You and I spoke recently. You and I spoke after the Celtic game, and I admitted to having that Hadji's my kind of bête noire. He still is. I just thought he did absolutely nothing yesterday except annoy the St Mirren fans. I mean, I thought, how have you managed to play the entirety of this match? You've contributed nothing. And then I think, is that just me? I just do it? Is the glass always half empty with him? With me, is it just one of these? Have I just got blinkers on? Because I felt he just contributed nothing, produced nothing. I don't know.
I feel with him, there is a lot of running around. I feel that there is at least endeavour. I feel that he's trying to do things that he's not good enough to do. So I think he's often trying to play a pass, like a visionary, revolutionary pass, but he can't execute it. He can't execute it. But it goes back to my point. If you take him off, I don't know who you're bringing on that gives us a better option.
Well, Cortez. I was amazed Cortez didn't get 20 minutes. He's on the bench, but you have to assume that he's coming close to fitness. You think, well, why is he not getting 20 minutes?
Yeah, I don't know if he is coming. I wonder if he's been put on the bench to try and placate the fan base a little bit and make things seem
really. Do you think that? You said it out loud there on the podcast
that being said,
1,000 people are listening to.
Is Cortez has had, in his short time at Rangers, he's had two lengthy injuries. One in his loan spell and one in his permanent time here. So two very lengthy injuries. St Mirren away, 1-1. That's not the game to bring him back, is it?
I don't know. I mean, he's an attacker. We took off off Jeffy. I actually, when I saw Redvan was coming on, I thought he's coming on for Hadji. I thought we're going, playing the thing again, and they took off Jeffy. Okay, but I don't know. When you get McCausland and Cortez on the bench, I would have brought on at least one. I mean, I know McCausland's not a world beater, but they're tiring. Their midfield's tiring. Their defence is tiring. Here's a guy that can run. Here's a guy that's got pace over 10 yards. I would have given him a run. And Cortez, I don't know. I mean, Cortez, anytime I've seen him, he's looked good, but I can't believe we're sticking him on the bench. He's not fit. That surprises me.
Who else is going on the bench though? Who else is there?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, stick on one of. I mean, if we're not giving him a game, you might as well stick on one of the young boys who at least is fit. Yeah.
I think. But this whole conversation that sums up two things: one, how bad our injury crisis has been over the last 12 months, and two, how shallow our squad depth is. It simply is not good enough.
Yeah. No, well, you're dead right there. Anyway, look, the squad rotation, which we are just about to talk about. he's done it. It didn't work yesterday. I mean, yesterday clearly demonstrated that it did not work. We don't have anywhere. I don't think there's a position. Maybe goalkeeper is the only position we've got where we could rotate and feel that we probably aren't weakening the team. We can't rotate at centre half because we're currently playing. Well, I don't really know what position Sterling is. I don't know what his best position is, but we're currently playing Sterling and proper because there literally are no other centre halves fit at the club. I don't know who you would put at right back now, because I think Tav's your only fit right back. Otherwise, it's Devine, and Devine doesn't look like he's in the picture. I think Jeffty's our strongest left back. Yilmaz can do a job there, but I think Jeffty has proven that he is the better of the two of them. Midfield, you don't want to be dropping Diomande or Raskin if you can avoid it, because who you're bringing in is not as good as them. Up front, I don't know. Who are you going to put in the right wing? McCausland? No, not if you can help it. And Bajami and Hadji, neither of them played well yesterday. I had no actual issues with Bajami coming off at half time. He did nothing in the first half. We needed to make a change. Danilo, Egaman, Dessers. I don't have a problem with Dessers coming off the bench, but my heart sinks if he starts. And you're right that the rotation is all good and well, but the squad is too shallow just now. We just basically have to play our best team every game. And if someone gets injured and someone takes a knock, you bring in somebody else, because then that's the best player that's available. I don't see what we do here other than that.
And it will. I know we'll come on and talk about it if we've got time at the end, but it puts a really difficult slant on the January transfer window, because I don't think any of us believe that we are flush with cash right now.
No.
But the squad needs reinforcement. If not starting quality, it needs game changers. I think that's what we miss. I think we miss game changers. So I don't know how you address that without spending any money, because unfortunately it seems that you're going to an EPL side and begging for a 19-year-old on loan.
Well, I mean, maybe. I mean, I think there are people out there that potentially that could come into our thinking. I think there are players at better clubs not getting a game who could come into the Scottish League and do something. Because our challenge just now is away from home. Away from home, we are struggling. We are not breaking down teams. We are not creating enough chances. We're not creating enough good chances. We are missing that guile. We're missing that creativity. If a team is not going to come out and have a go at us, then we can't break them down. And we've seen that now too many times this season. And you're right. So what we're looking for is game changers. We're looking for the guy who can come on, who can just do that something magical. We don't have them just now. And the ones we do have are playing every week.
Yeah.
Your Cherneys, man, it's early days. I still think it's there for him now. I've seen enough now to become a believer. And that's it. There really is anybody else. Danilo, again, I know he took his goal well, actually. I thought it was a nice finish. It was all a bit hear him, scare him, but it was a nice finish. But you're right, we don't have them. Can we get them? Yeah, I think there are players not getting games in England just now for whom you could maybe pick up for a few months. I don't know what kind of money that's going to cost. I do think there are players out there, but whether we can bring them in or not, because currently looking at it thinking, well, you know what, we need a centre half. Probably need to sign another centre half because we're weak there. And if something ever does happen to Tav, we're asking Sterling to play in two positions because there is no other right back. So, how does that work? And then central midfield is clearly a weak area for the team as well just now. So, Dwayne and us, and we can't score goals. So we need up front. So we're looking at bringing in 4 or 5 players there, which we both know is not happening.
Yeah,
we're not bringing in 4 or 5 players in this window. So I think we just have to suck it up and accept that this is what it is. But for 20 minutes, we were a different team. We were the team we've got to know over the last 5-6 weeks. The urgency was back. Any time we lost possession, we won it straight back. It was wave upon wave. Suddenly Tav was playing, inside right. He was up front. It was wave upon wave. We hit the bar. The keeper had 2 or 3 shots that the keeper had to save. You did feel a goal was coming, and sure enough, it did. So for 20 minutes or so, it certainly worked. Our best team on the park were running St Mirren ragged. How does that happen? How does making change to two? Or is it just simply the bollocking they get at half time? Which you do think, well, give them the fucking bollocking at the start of the match then, because come on, we've seen this before. But okay, is it just simply the ball? Is it simply just pointing out certain things, asking certain people to play in different ways? Tav has most certainly been pushed much further forward in the thing. And I'm going to come and talk about this. I think we were going man for man at the back. I think we just decided to go to just gamble, go man for man. It cost us at the end, but anyway, I think that's what we're doing, to just try and free players up to move forward. But we're a different team for 20 minutes. We get our goal and then we stop. And so I guess my question, Ross, is did we stop, or did St Mirren change their tactics? Because St Mirren made maybe 4 or 5 substitutions, certainly 3 or 4. They changed their front line. Did they just change their tactics and we just didn't adapt to it? Were we outthought by St Mirren? Or, did we just stop after we scored? Did we just think, well, that's the hard work done?
I think we ran out of energy, actually. I think something must have changed at halftime, because I don't want to be so naive as to believe that the managers just asked the players to give 15% more. That if that's the case, then those players shouldn't be playing football. If the manager has to ask them at halftime to go out and try harder, they shouldn't be there in the first place.
No. So
something must have changed for us tactically in the second half. And I thought that 20-minute spell was excellent. It was exciting. As you say, we hit the woodwork. Keeper makes a couple of good saves. You had that one where it was cleared off the line and there's a VAR check, and then the goal follows shortly after. I guess, it was a bit scrappy and, as you say, hear him, scare him, but it's also because we had bodies in the box putting pressure on, trying to win knockdowns or win the 50-50s or win the second ball. We scored the goal, and actually I thought one of the things that struck me when we scored the goal was how passionately some of those players celebrated that. It meant a huge amount to them. And then I don't know if we just ran out of energy or ran out of belief. I don't know which is worse, actually. But we ran out of something, because the mentality just seemed to change. And actually, I felt, say, 5 minutes after the goal, I felt there was no way that we were winning that game. You just knew that we'd gone completely flat.
Yeah.
I believe, and I've said it time and time again on here over the last 3 or 4 years, I believe that we as fans are constantly let down by our players. And that's not, about the manager, it's not about the board or the chief exec or whoever it is. I feel that the players time and time again let us down. They let us down on big occasions. They let us down in derby matches. And I don't know if they know how much it means. Sometimes I don't know if you're coming in from, where did Proper come from? FC Twente or Aberdeen. I mean, a boy from Aberdeen should know what it means. Or if you're coming from Morocco, or if you're coming from Wolfsburg, or you're coming from, is it Sassuolo that we got Bayrami from? Do they know the expectation? And it's very easy. Well, the expectation is to win and win every game. But I suppose every club's going to say that, and even if you are Sassuolo, every club is going to say that. So I just don't know if they.
No, every club doesn't say that. There are only a small number of clubs in world football where they are expected to win every game. Even Man United, Manchester City, Liverpool, they're not expected to win every game. Real Madrid are perhaps expected to win every game, but no, the expectation on playing for Rangers is different. But maybe it shouldn't take long to figure it out.
But if you're coming from a totally different context, and you go, but at my old club, the fans were very demanding there as well. Maybe it doesn't quite compute that actually this is not acceptable, and that you go, we were 1-0 down, and it's been a very busy December, and we've played 8 games in a month, and this and that. So actually, getting a point away from home is a good result here.
Yeah, it did feel like that. It did feel like they thought their job was done by getting the equaliser.
That's how it felt, and if that's the case, It just seems again and again we're being let down by the players.
Yeah. Talking about being let down, I hate to talk about this, but the referee and the VAR and whoever is involved in all of that. Now, this baffles me. Before we scored, Danilo was so clearly fouled in the box. I mean, the guy is literally pulling his jersey. You can see it. It's clear as day. I don't even know if they looked. You think, well, what's VAR doing? That's a penalty. There's no two ways about it. That is a penalty. I thought Czerny's booking, I thought Diomandi's booking were really, really soft. And that does change things. Suddenly Diomandi's having to watch his tackle and, he cannot make, he can't make a foul. He's off the park. St Mirren had a player who just stepped into Egerman and obstructed him. He then injured himself doing it. And you think, well, VAR must see that. Why is VAR not saying, look, you know what? That's obstruction. That's a foul. That's a booking. That's why is it not? And then he does exactly the same thing to Diomande, and Diomande gets booked. Exactly the same thing happens, and Diomande gets booked for it. It's a professional foul in the second half as well, where the boy again's pulling back the jersey, and you're thinking, am I just becoming one of these paranoid people, or am I just watching football and thinking, look, this isn't right? I don't know if you've had the misfortune to see the penalty Celtic got yesterday. At nothing each in 44 minutes going. I mean, it's the softest penalty you've ever seen. You're looking at it and thinking, well, that's not a penalty. They're getting those penalties just now, and we're literally getting nothing off these referees.
Yeah.
And at some point, I know Rangers put out a statement the other day there when Frank Connor was welcomed back into the bosom of Scottish refereeing with open arms after being given the weekend off as a punishment. But it's getting fast going. I'm reluctant to call out bias, because I still struggle to accept that people do that. But at best, it's utter incompetence, which I can just about accept from the referee. I can just about accept the referee didn't see that shot pull. Right? Just whatever. He's unsighted, right? Doesn't see the shot pull. I can just about accept that he doesn't see the obstruction. But VAR can see them. That's the whole point of VAR. Why are they not seeing them? Why are they not saying, you know what? Come and look at that monitor. You missed a very clear shot pull on Rangers centre forward in the 6-yard box when the ball's coming through. That, I think, is a penalty. It's a foul in the penalty area. Whether he's getting to the ball or not is irrelevant. It is a foul in the penalty area. It's a penalty.
Well, the mistake you're making there is thinking that a foul in the penalty area would result in a penalty for us. Because as we've seen over the last few weeks, foul in the penalty area, it might be a penalty, might be a free kick, might be nothing. I had a conversation with my brother over Christmas, which, in the wake of the League Cup final and the shirt pull in the box, which was more out than in, apparently. And he was the phrase he used was it was something along the lines of "Don't cry conspiracy when incompetence, is the more likely the factor." Basically saying incompetence is making people believe it's conspiracy, but actually it's just bad people making bad decisions. My thing with that is that they wouldn't consistently benefit one club.
Yeah. We've not had a penalty this season.
Now,
we've not been given a penalty this
season. And that's not a mistake, because when we were getting penalties, legitimate penalties, and repeatedly getting legitimate penalties, we were winning a lot of penalties. We had the gall to have the second highest number of penalties awarded to us in the Scottish Premiership last season or the season before. Second highest, by the way, not highest, second highest. When all of that penalty to Rangers chat was going on. So that's deliberate. It's talk that up in the media, get that narrative going, so that people are now afraid to give a penalty to Rangers. So that even when a foul takes place in the box, you'll find a way to say it was more out than in, so it's not a penalty. Ignore the rules. It's a mistake. He was doing paperwork at the time. Well, if he was doing paperwork at the time, stop doing your paperwork. Look at the monitor. We've got VAR. We can pause the game. Just have a look. I'll do my paperwork.
It's only the last minute of a cup final. Yeah.
It's on exactly. So no, it's getting mega frustrating. I think probably feeling the same way as yourself of trying to find any way to cling to the idea of incompetence, really trying to cling to it being just bad mistakes, and they'll even themselves out over time. But if they're going to even themselves out over time, we're about to go through an incredible purple patch.
Yeah, we get 2 or 3 penalties every game in the next
and I can't wait for
half of the season.
I mean, that penalty that Celtic got yesterday, no other club in Scotland gets that penalty.
No.
I believe that no other club in Scotland gets that penalty. John, who's the club in Scotland that's gone the most number of games now without receiving a red card?
I mean, I don't have this information at my fingertips, but I'm going to hazard a guess.
It just feels that after years and years and years of a narrative, years of the documentary that was made, which was screened at Parkhead, which included Big Tam Boyd, who is an official Celtic club ambassador on the payroll, getting interviewed saying, well, with some of these decisions, you just get led to believe that there's something else at play here. The years and years and years of talking up how everyone's against Celtic have led to this position of going that referees are afraid to be seen to be against them. And that is manifesting itself, I believe, now in us being refereed differently. I don't know, maybe in a few days or a few weeks I'll calm down a bit and I'll look back on this and be embarrassed by it. But the decision...
But it does feel like that. It absolutely feels like that just now.
Yeah,
it's
really, really...
and yesterday was another example of that. You think, this is ridiculous. Anyway, St Mirren's second goal, the winner for St Mirren, which I think we all saw coming. I think at the time, and I don't know if we were doing this for the entire second half, we're certainly doing it for the last half hour. I think we went man for man at the back. We just decided to push the fullbacks forward and just go man for man at the back and just go for it. We nearly get caught. Proper, and let me say something about Proper. I think Proper looked, Proper had a couple of very dodgy games for Rangers a couple of months back. I actually thought he's looked okay recently. And I actually thought he looked okay yesterday. And Michael Stewart blew an Ekman. How he gets employed is beyond. We do this for fun. Someone pays him money to talk garbage. We come on and talk nonsense, but we're just wasting our own time. Someone actually pays him money to talk that nonsense. Now, he'd already decided before Proper come on that Proper's having a terrible game. I actually thought Proper played okay yesterday, but he had a kind of slip, and their boy got through, and actually Raskin get back and dispossessed him, and thing. So we should have had the warning. Sterling, who'd had a great game up to that point, and gets robbed. Are you blaming Sterling? Was Sterling just dreaming? Was he not seeing the guy? Was he looking for the pass? Had no one come to him to give him the pass? St Mirren were hunting him down at that point.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating. And actually, initially I thought Butland was at fault for the goal back, but I saw it again, he wasn't. It was just a very, very good shot. I didn't think you could blame Proper. I thought Proper did the right thing. Don't dive in, jockey the guy, right, fine, he's going to play it back. You're going to hope your midfield might come back and join in defending at that point.
Yeah.
To be, and the boy just stuck it sweetly into the bottom corner. And to be honest with you, I don't actually know if you could grudge them the victory over the piece. We had much more possession. We had more chances. We had better chances, but over the piece, I thought St Mirren were hungrier, which is a horrible thing to say. I thought they wanted it more at the end than we did. Which is a terrible indictment to say for a Rangers team at this stage of the season. Particularly one who's been given, tiniest wee glimmer of light last weekend with Celtic dropping points. rather unexpectedly. You just think, okay, win their next 3 games, and suddenly it's 6 points, and okay, let's see what they're like with a wee bit of pressure on them. But nah, wasn't to be. It lasted for about 4 days.
Yeah.
On their goal, what's your feeling? I mean, is it individual errors? Is it who's to fault? Who's at fault there?
I feel initially, what I was saying, you're right. The boy takes the goal really, really well. It's a good finish. It's a decent goal. More so than that, I actually feel that the boy who comes in and kind of robs Sterling does very well. Good tackle, good pace, good vision. It's a good goal. It is a good goal. I would put some blame at both Proper and Sterling. Sterling because he kind of doesn't know what to do with the ball once he gets it. Proper because he doesn't need to make that pass in the first place. I don't know why he's, at that stage of the game, was it 92 minutes gone? Don't pass sideways to your other centre half. Get the ball forward. So I lay a bit of blame actually at both of them there. But
interesting, yeah.
Other than that, it's a good goal.
Yeah. You have 24 hours now. Any players getting pass marks from yesterday?
Any players getting pass marks from yesterday? Possibly Danilo. I felt that he exemplified the hunger and energy, lacked a bit of quality at times, lacked a bit of composure. But I am really pleased to see how well he's doing on his return from injury. I mean, that's 4 goals in 5 games, different types of goals every time, but a bit of a poacher. I'm liking his work rate and his endeavour. So pass marks, I don't know, but I thought that Danilo was he's my standout at the moment.
Okay. Yeah, he did well when he came on. I mean, Raskin did well when he came on as well. I think he did change the game as we said, for 20 minutes. I think he did. His presence, his style of play, his speed, the tempo, everything changed around the game after that, and it'd make a difference. So we go to Motherwell Sunday. I have no idea what day it is today, but we'll go to Motherwell on Sunday, whenever that is. What do? Do you play our strongest team, or do you rotate with the Celtic game in mind? Because the Celtic game is important from a psychological perspective, if nothing else.
You play a strongest team. We need to go into Celtic as a winning team. We need to go there with a bit of confidence. I want to see us play our strongest team. I want to see us be dynamic, attacking, aggressive, and put 4 goals past Motherwell. I think we need a bit of confidence. I think these players are short of confidence right now. Need to build some. Play the strongest team. Hopefully 1 or 2 coming back from injury. I haven't heard anything about Balogun and how long he might be out for.
No, I haven't heard anything today either.
Suter,
I don't think you come off after 20 minutes holding your calf like that and it's anything short term.
No.
Suter, I think we're looking at makes a Celtic game. I had a look of 2-3 weeks about it at least.
Yeah, I think you're right. Same with Suter. I think he's looking at sort of mid-Jan, early Feb. Is there anyone else that we're waiting to come back? I don't know. Cortez, that'll be interesting. Maybe that's the time we see Cortez come back as he gets thrown into an old firm. That'll be fun. But no, it's going to be actually much the same as the St Mirren game. It's not going to be pleasant. It's going to be a battle. It's going to be combative. We know what Motherwell are all about. Play your strongest team.
Okay. Lastly, January window, days away. Do you expect much business? And if so, what?
I don't expect much. I have.
Do you expect any?
I kind of didn't actually. I kind of felt any incomings would be based on outgoings, and I haven't really heard of much interest in our players. I'm sure at some point someone will write that Tav's going to go off to Saudi to join Steven Gerrard, because that's just what we do now in transfer windows. But I haven't really seen concrete interest in any of our players. So, and I think that any permanent incoming signings will be highly dependent on people going out the door first.
Shankland?
No. No. And the answer is no, even if the question is, do I want him? Or if the question is, do I think we will sign him? No. to both of those. We're struggling to score goals, but Danilo's come back 4 and 5, different type of striker. I think we need a centre half. I think that's actually our biggest issue.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be loans, and I think it'll be unproven youngsters.
Yeah, I think it will be as well. I think that makes more sense. Yeah.
And maybe that's okay.
Some 20-year-old from Notts Forest or something.
I think that'll be it. Yeah. And we've had some. I'm trying to think now of all the loans that we've had in the last 5 or 6 years. Have we had some decent? We've had Ovie Ejaria. We've had.
Woof. Now we're going back.
Some of these boys that have come in from the Premier League. A boy from Liverpool whose name I've completely forgotten. I think scored for us out in Russia, maybe. We haven't done overly well with some of these loans.
It's funny. Last 3 seasons, Tillman was probably our best player who was on loan. Sima.
Ahmad Diallo.
Sima, who was also very, very good. And then obviously this season, Cherny, who's probably our most creative player this season. Probably our most likely to create something this season. So, they're all guys who've been with us all season. Who've come through the pre-season with us and had a chance to bed in. They get, like you say, the guys who bring in January, not so much. Aaron Ramsey. I've never, ever will ever forgive for not being able to take a penalty. I had Diallo. It's funny to see Diallo just now. I guess that tells you everything you need to know about the state of Man United. Just now that he's our best forward.
But does it tell you something about us as fans as well? We kind of said this guy's not good enough. He's not got the mentality. He's a good player, but he's not really up for it. He's not built with the right stuff.
I don't know about other supports, because the truth is I've never really spent much time around other supports. We make a judgment fairly quickly on players, and that tends to, it wasn't that long ago, even on the pod, guests very unhappy with Clement. Excuses. When he was saying, look, players need time to settle, players need, you think, okay, well, 2 or 3 of them now have settled and actually now look like they might well be players. So, and I've said this before on here, and I don't mind admitting that you won't remember this, but I am one of the guys who thought Mark Hateley was a big coup for at least half a season. When he first joined us, I just thought, a big waste of money he is. Turned out he just needed a bit of time to settle and get used to the league and get his fitness up, and he turned out okay in the end for us. So I am one of these guys who tends now to give a player, and some players need a season. Some players it's the second season before you actually start to see them, which is frustrating when you want them to hit the ground running just now. But I tend to agree with you. I would be very surprised if we don't try and bring in some kind of cover at centre half. Somebody, whether it's a guy towards the end of his career who comes in, or whether it's a guy, like you say, a 20-year-old. But I would be very surprised if we don't bring in some kind of cover there. And I think we might try and bring in another midfielder. I could see something happening there. I could see some kind of midfielder coming in. But again, I suspect there'll be loans.
Yeah,
there was talk somewhere of Dessers, somebody interested in taking Dessers, which I guess would free up a salary, and I don't think we'd get much money for him, but maybe allow us to bring in somebody, whether it be up front or somewhere else. I just don't know. Ross, thanks for your time tonight. Appreciate you giving up whatever day of the week it is, whatever time of day it is. I think it's December, and I appreciate you giving up an evening in December. There will be a pod on the 29th. Again, don't ask me what day of the week that is, but there will be a pod on the 29th. I think it's going to be Craig, Colin and Ben. So they're bringing out the big guns for the last one of the year. Just to thank Forrest Precision Engineering for their support with the podcast this year. And just to thank everybody who's listened. Some of the people who leave comments. I don't get to see the comments during the show. So if you think I'm ignoring you, it is because I am ignoring you, but it's not deliberate. I just don't get to see the comments. So if you've left nice ones, or if you're the guy who leaves all the double entendres, you know what, thanks for leaving them anyway. They do upset me a little bit when I read them, and I think, is he being serious? But, you know, you're probably not, so that's okay. But listen, thanks for listening. We do appreciate it, and please enjoy what's left of the festive season, and hopefully Rangers will you know, a couple of good results in a row might just put a smile on all our faces in 2005. Good night, guys.